In 2015, Fetty Wap was one of the biggest artists in the world. His song Trap Queen was a mega hit. He was on tour with Post Malone, performing on stage with Taylor Swift. But today, Fetty Wap is sitting in federal prison after he made the biggest mistake of his life. How do you go from being one of the biggest artists in the world to the biggest name in prison? Well, it all started with Fetty Wap making more money than he could dream of, because following the success of Trap Queen, he dropped 2 more massive hits, 679 and My Way, both selling millions of records. He was headlining shows, doing dozens of features. I mean, just listen to how much money he had in the bank.
How much is the most you saw like in your account? You're like, what the f?
The most I saw in my account?
Yeah, just
22.
Huh?
22.
Like 22,
M's.
like 22 million?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
This man had 22 million in the bank. He could have set his family up for generations. So, what happened to all that money? Well, as a kid who grew up in the hood of New Jersey with nothing, as soon as he got some money, he wanted to spend it.
I did like 2.5 million in Jersey. 37 cars, 10 houses, 14 apartments. It was bad. I was doing like almost $200,000 a month in just bills.
Apartments, houses, cars, jewelry, $200,000 a month in bills. Oh, and that's not including the 6 kids he has with 5 different women. It's like the man was trying to see how much money he could spend. And in 2018, he found out you can spend it all. See, Fetty had just landed in California. It was his daughter's birthday weekend, and he headed straight to the bank, looking to take out $100,000 so they could go celebrate. But as he tried to take the money out, he saw something that he had never seen before.
That was like a hole. I'm like, what the f*** do that mean?
So you try to take money out and they're like, oh no, there's a hold on it.
Yeah.
Fetty Wap had no idea he was behind on his bills, and the banks froze everything. Now at this point, Fetty wasn't really putting out music. He dropped some mixtapes, but those were free. He was really just living off of the massive success he had early in his career. So with the money drying up, it was time to get back in the studio, make another hit. But it turns out, there was something dark going on behind the scenes. See, when you look at Fetty Wap's career, you see an album in 2015 that sold millions of copies and had multiple hits. Then nothing but free mixtapes until 2021. Why? Well, when you sign your first record deal with a hometown friend, a lot of bad stuff can happen. Yeah, while Fetty was on the come up in New Jersey, he was being put on by a guy named Nit the Grit, who would pay for his studio sessions and help promote his stuff. And as Trap Queen started to take off, Fetty signed to his label, RGF Productions, a decision that would impact Fetty's career to this day, because Nit the Grit had no clue what he was doing.
I don't know, I'm fresh out the hood, I'm trying to figure it out.
Do you have a lawyer or do you have someone kind of guiding you? Again, it seemed like you a hood at this
right,
point. You
right.
a hood.
Right.
And not only did he have no clue what he was doing, but he completely lost control of Fetty Wap. Nick couldn't get him to do interviews, show up to celebrity events, save his money, nothing.
When that fame and money and hoes came and all that, it just was like, I seen that shit in 2014. Like, it's like,
You saw
that
Fetty
fame, yes.
And all this tension on the business side led to issues on the personal side, with Fetty claiming that Nit wouldn't clear records or let him put out music.
At one point, everything was just whatever. And then the next thing you know, it was like, no. Like,
Now, to be honest, we're just scratching the surface on all the issues that were going on behind the scenes. But I think you can tell it was a mess. So when the pressure came, the money was gone, and Fetty had to make music. He couldn't find the motivation. The business side killed his passion, and he actually started to hate making music. So, with his accounts frozen and feeling like music wasn't an option, Fetty decided to take up a new line of work. But little did he know, this would be the biggest mistake of his life. In early 2019, Fetty Wap and a group of 5 other individuals came up with a plan to make millions. Basically, they would purchase a certain product on the West Coast, where they had drivers who would deliver it to the East Coast in vehicles with secret compartments. They would also switch up the strategy to try to remain undetected, sometimes shipping product in planes or through the mail. Once the goods got to the East Coast, it was all divvied up and sent out across New Jersey and the tri-state area. And I'm not talking about a little bit, alright? These guys were moving $2 million worth of product every single week. And they did this all throughout 2019, bringing in millions and millions of dollars. But the entire time Fetty was building this empire, the feds were watching. See, In May 2019, local police and the DEA launched a secret investigation into Fetty's crew. Now, what tipped the feds off is unknown, but regardless, from this point, the feds had their eyes and ears on everything Fetty and his crew were doing, from filming meetups, tracking shipments, even getting a court-ordered wiretap so they could listen in on their conversations. Every move they made, every word they said was being tracked, and it didn't take long for everything to come crashing down. On June 27, 2020, federal agents executed search warrants at 6 different locations across New Jersey, all connected to Fetty's crew, and they found everything they needed. And following the search, Fetty's entire crew was arrested, being hit with charges that had them facing life in federal prison. But there was one person who didn't get arrested: Fetty Wap. In fact, he was free for all of 2020, and in 2021, he even started making music again, finally dropping his second album, The Butterfly Effect, on October 22nd, and he was even booked to perform at Rolling Loud the weekend after that. It seemed like things were actually turning around for Fetty, but as he was set to take the stage at Rolling Loud, the feds finally came knocking.
Well, now to a developing story. Rapper Fetty Wap under arrest on federal drug charges.
He was arrested yesterday at Citi Field. He's one of 6 indicted for conspiracy to distribute more than 100 kilograms of controlled substances.
Sources tell Pix 11 News the rapper was also dealing drugs from the parking lot at the festival. The defense attorney said that her client is innocent and that this is all just a misunderstanding. She's looking forward to clearing it all up soon.
Fetty Wap was officially charged and was facing life in federal prison. Following this arrest, Fetty would only spend a week in jail before posting a $500,000 bail, where he would have to wear an ankle monitor along with other restrictions. Now, you'd think being out on bail would be a good thing. He could go back to making music and keep money coming in. I mean, he was able to do stuff like the DJ Academics interview that I've been showing all video while he was out on bail. But it turns out, being out on bail was the worst thing that could have happened, because it gave him the opportunity to keep incriminating himself. See, in order for the feds to build this case, they had to have informants, people that were feeding them information and snitching, and Fetty knew this.
I'm on the flag basis, man. You know what I mean? Be doing this. Got a whole bunch of ratatouille ass.
In fact, he felt like he knew exactly who was snitching. So in December 2021, while out on bail for only a month, Fetty decided to FaceTime an unnamed individual and allegedly threatened them if they snitched. And of course, the informant was filming the entire thing and sent it straight to the feds. Surprisingly though, it took a while for the feds to do anything about it, and Fetty would remain free for months. But in August 2022, Fetty was arrested once again, had his bail revoked for making that alleged FaceTime threat, and this time, there was no getting out. The feds had everything they needed to put Fetty away for life. They had witnesses, physical evidence, wiretapped conversations, front to back. Every angle was covered, and Fetty Wap knew he was screwed. I mean, if he took this case to trial and lost, he'd be sentenced to life in prison. Everything he worked for would be gone. All the people depending on him would have no one. So, with his back against the wall, Fetty had no choice but to take a deal, pleading guilty to a single federal charge, having all of his other charges dropped, and completely avoiding trial. And in March 2023, he was officially sentenced to 6 years in federal prison. Yeah, when you compare that to life in prison, he got a pretty big break. And since being locked up, Fetty did an interview from prison where he talks about why he did everything he did, saying, "I don't really be blaming nobody for nothing. It ain't nobody else's fault that I'm here. It was like, alright, the music wasn't really doing that good, but nobody's paying attention. So I'm like, man, f*** it. I'm gonna go back to what I know how to do, instead of pursuing my career harder. Man, I kinda was a coward. Anybody that really pays attention to me, man, choose a different life, cause this shit whack. I hate being here. I hate being away from my children. I like to drive. I like to enjoy myself. If you got the right way to do it, choose the right way. Because the wrong way, you never know what could happen."